Hi, welcome to the scene-wise analysis of Act 3, Scene 2 of Hamlet, Prince of Denmark. Firstly, let's gather the important features of Act 3, Scene 2. Firstly, the scene is a fairly long scene of around 390 lines, and we come across the character of Horatio after a long time. Horatio is the bosom companion of Hamlet, and we met him last in Act 1, Scene 5 of the play, and we meet him after a long time. Apart from Horatio, another important aspect about the scene is almost all the principal characters are present in the scene, and they have come to be a part of a gala event, that is an interlude or a play within the play that is going to be enacted in this scene. And we need to know that an interlude or a mask or a dumb show is a very important feature of a revenge tragedy. Apart from that, the scene has a very important role since it also has a soliloquy and an aside spoken by Hamlet, which reveals his own self further to the audience. And the scene is important because it also shows a series of conspiracies that are taking place in this play right from Act 2. Because we have seen how Polonius is conspiring against his son Laertes, even though in a positive way, he conspires against his son Laertes. Apart from that, we find the royal couple, Gertrude and Claudius. They are conspiring against Hamlet in order to unravel his secrets. And we find at another point the royal couple along with Polonius are conspiring against Hamlet. And in this scene we find Hamlet is conspiring against the royal couple, and that's why he is staging the play, The Murder of Gonzago, in order to catch the conscience of the king. So in all aspects we find a series of conspiracies which are getting hatched by several characters in this play. The scene has dramatic value since we find the king, Claudius, and his counselor have come to a conclusion that Hamlet is becoming insane. And the last line of Act 2, Scene 2, we find Claudius uttering the line, "Madness in great ones must not unwatched go." So that again is a very clear suggestion that the king now is completely sure that Hamlet is becoming insane. So he is more watchful to see more and more proofs in order to validate that conviction. The scene is of intense dramatic importance as we find Hamlet conversing with his player friends as the scene begins, and almost 45 lines are devoted for the conversation. And during these conversation we find Hamlet preparing them for the dramatic enactment of the murder of Gonzago. And the conversation reveals the histrionic sense of Hamlet and his involvement and his clear objective to elicit the real nature of Claudius as he watches the play. Shortly, he is joined by the companions Rosencrantz and Guildenstern along with Polonius. And Hamlet is curious to know if the royal couple will be there to watch the play. And Polonius is giving a very affirmative response, and before Rosencrantz and Guildenstern leave him, he is assuring their support during the enactment of the play. As they leave, we find Horatio joining Hamlet, and he is addressing Hamlet as sweet lord. Hamlet is super excited and extremely mirthful to receive Horatio of a long time, and he has great estimation for Horatio, being a stoic, and in his opinion Hamlet is considering Horatio as someone whose blood and judgment are so well commodelled. That's how he is praising Horatio. And he is assigning Horatio a very important task, that is to watch closely the countenance and the gestures of Claudius as he watches the play, so that he will never miss a single expression of Claudius as he betrays his sense of guilt. Horatio pledges his assistance, and as the royal couple joins them, Horatio and Hamlet, they move to occupy a suitable place to watch the countenance of the king as the play begins. The scene is of intense dramatic importance, since the king Claudius and Polonius are already set to brand Hamlet as a madman. Sadly, the sarcastic expressions and the diabolic responses, together with the antique responses of Hamlet, are perfect to seal his fate very well. As the king joins, he makes a very casual remark regarding Hamlet's well-being. King: "How fares you, cousin Hamlet?" Hamlet: "Excellent. Of the chameleon's dish I eat the air, promise crammed." The verbal expressions of Hamlet is a very clear indication of his decision to lead a chameleon-like existence in order to safeguard his own life. He also indulges in a kind of lewd talk with Ophelia, which is so much replete with sexual imageries. As Hamlet, lying down at Ophelia's feet: "Lady, shall I lie in your lap?" Ophelia: "No, my lord." I mean my head upon your lap." "Aye, my lord." As the royal couple gather to watch the play, Hamlet is not missing any chance when he could pull the leg of his own mother, and he is so much filled with disgust to watch the couple watching the play together that he is instantly making a sarcastic remark. "O God, you are only a jig maker. What should a man do but be merry? For look you how cheerfully my mother looks, and my father died within 2 hours." So Hamlet is again expressing very clearly how he is disturbed and deeply wounded by the hasty remarriage of his mother. Ophelia corrects the remark of Hamlet by her counter argument that it's not 2 hours but 4 months since the death of King Hamlet.